Okay, we're all live. Great. So welcome everybody to this first live build with Zenler. Now I've got Peter here, and Peter actually has a site called CalifornianWushu.com. It's a martial arts site, and he actually asked me to critique it in a day with Zenler. So that's what I did. I went through it, and actually Peter's made some of the changes. So hi, Peter.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
So Peter's here with us. So what we're going to do is this first one, we're going to do a live build. So some of the points that I've already picked out, like I said, Peter's already done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share. Feel free to jump in whenever you like, Peter. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I've made up lots of little assets, extra assets and things that could work with your site. And I know that in some areas you might have had some problems. So I can fix those as well as we go. So I'm going to share my screen. This is the current site that Peter has.
Yes.
And on the critique, I was saying, give a little bit of air around things, you know, and that's what Peter's done. Although there needs to be a little bit more air around these kind of boxes, top and bottom. It's just a bit cramped in there, Peter. And I also noticed when I was looking through the site, you've got these nice rounded images, but then it juxtapoints the kind of nice square that we've got there. So we're going to non-destructively work on your site, Peter. So don't worry.
Okay.
feel safe. Yeah, we've got a few things going on. So one, we've got uppercase and lowercase in some of the buttons. Now, you know, this is just what I'm picking up. There's no wrong, there's no right way, but there's certain things that you should try and maintain in the site, and that's consistency. And I can see Peter has. It's actually really nothing wrong with the site. If someone was looking at it, they go, that's a perfectly good site. They probably wouldn't even notice some of these things. But when you start to sort them all out, it makes a big difference visually. So that's what we're trying to do today. So we've got uppercase, lowercase in the button, and then we've got uppercase down here in a different font. What I try and do is I noticed that Peter's using 3 fonts in this site. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use 1. Now I played around with another font, and you can, and I'd say try and keep to a maximum of 2 font types in your site. Maybe have 1 font type for heading types and subheadings, and then another one for body text and things like buttons or those sort of things. So then you can keep it very consistent, and you can actually do a sheet out that you know exactly the sizes that you're using and all those sort of things. So you don't have to keep comparing to the other page and seeing what was that size that I used there? What did I use there? If you've got a sheet already written out, you can just open it up and you can just work to it. So that's what we'll be looking at as well. And down here, we've got a nice video here. Peter, there's one thing, if you can, I know it's really hard because I know with martial arts, you know, we were talking about earlier that you want to see someone's whole body. But if you can film stuff in the landscape, that will be better for your site.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that. Sorry, in the landscape.
Yeah, so if instead of having the phone upright like that, have the phone sideways.
Got it.
So we got that landscape view, because what's happening with this image in here, for instance, it's cropped black both sides.
Yeah.
So in the landscape, yeah, they might be a bit smaller, but I know because Peter does lots of critiquing, he does it online. So someone will do a series of moves, and then Peter will look at that and he will record the right way to do it. And then he'll do a video for these and he'll put them side by side. So it's okay, you know, you can still move that one out, move your one over the top. You can still get it nicely framed. But if you've got them in the middle, it takes up the whole landscape. It's just a thing, especially for like your YouTube channel and things like that, because then you don't get this cut at the side. And people tend to, when they see that sort of thing, they're looking at the phone in landscape, and what they do is they'll turn it that way round to try and get it to crop in, and then it goes even smaller because it's black on the sides. So this is just little tips to pick up on. Try and keep it landscape if you can. The other thing is up here on the images, if you can, again, try and keep the images the same ratio. We're going to look at this in a minute because I've actually prepared some. So for instance, if you've got a width across here and a height down here, try to make all the images that are in page the same, because then this won't be small and then this one's tall. So it kind of throws it out. If they're all consistently the same size, then it looks really good. And it's, you know, easy to do this. You can just use things like Canva. You can set a size up, drop your images in there, and then just export the images out. And I'll show you later.
Yep.
Hello, Peter?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, lovely. Yeah, like I said, any questions, just pop in. So we got that down there. You've got a little arrow. You've got a little bit of movement going on, which is really cool. I like that. I like that where it goes like that. That's pretty good. So obviously animation, you know, Peter's got it there. So it's like things that it just catches your eye and just bang, you know, things come up and it keeps you a bit more excited. So down here, this is a common problem because it's quite hard to kind of work it out, but we've got different size boxes coming in here. So I'd like to have these the same size.
If I may say something, last time you told me that maybe I could make a slide, but I looked through the site and I couldn't really find I couldn't really get it to work with the slides. I didn't really see how I could use that. So yeah, that was, I did try. I also tried to make them the same size, but because the stories are so different and I didn't want to cut out too much, I did change them a little bit. I figured like no matter which story I use from which student, it's always going to be like they're slightly different in size. And,
yeah, I'm with you. A little tip, if you have got content and it has to be out of size, what you can try and do is do it in the order that it goes down. So for instance, I would make, if I was using these as blocks, I would make this one the first one because it's longer. Then I would use this one in the middle because it's slightly shorter. And then I'd use the really short one at the end. Because by doing that, it shows purpose. It shows that's been done on purpose. It follows a rhythm. It's like putting something in alphabetical order. It kind of naturally, your eye goes, there's an order, even though they're different sizes, there's an order to what's happening design wise. Whereas if you look at it now, it's like, oh, it's just been put in there. And subconscious, even though I look at it and I go, that's great, I can read all that. For me, personally, it's all good. But when people look at it, there's a subliminal thing behind saying that it's unordered. And it's strange how your mind works, but it will look at it like it's unordered.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks like kind of like a messy room right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's all good. It's just like these little things can really make a difference with stuff. Also noticed the use, and I think I mentioned this to you about using the blue quite a lot. And blue's a fantastic color. And I can see that you've used the maroon and that goes with it really well. But I'd go even more. I'd hit it with a red. I'd hit it with a real bright red, because one thing we know for sure is blue and red work together really well.
The reason I kind of chose those colors like maroon and blue, because that was kind of like the way my school used to look. And we also had, like, you can probably see it maybe in another picture down below. We used to have a big yellow wall in the back of the school, which also was kind of a color that fits really well with it. Absolutely. But I do see your point with the red. It stands out really, really sharp.
Yeah, and you'll see later, because you've got, the thing is that you have like the blue uniforms here as well. Blue, it's just blue, which is lovely. It looks good, but it's if we can pick up on things, if we can like throw some color in to break things up, then it becomes it becomes its own thing, because you've got teaching Wushu and you've also got the fitness program as well, which is separated out. So to split them into two different colors means that that's for that, that's for this. It works.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, originally I was kind of debating whether to put the fitness together with the martial arts or to make a totally separate site. So I ended up putting them together because it used to be done together at my business as well.
Right. Okay. But you have the option, you have the option of splitting it. If you want more content in there and you want to sell them, break it into courses, you have that ability. So if someone's doing the full training, then you're going to show the fitness as well. But if someone just wants to get martial art fit, then they can take that course as well, separate. They don't even have to learn the martial art itself. They could just do it because lots of people do.
Yeah, I would say that's for sure. Yeah, it's similar, but the martial art it has a lot of aspects to it that might not necessarily be fitness. It might be, you're thinking about the movements and how to make them better. But in fitness, you just kind of keep going because you want to get people fit. You don't want them to stand around. So the emphasis is a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know your market, but in that kind of thinking. So, you've already mentioned there, so you can say, right, okay, I've got my logo. I know I've got black, white, and I've got the blue. So that's like 3 colors that you've got already. So if you've got those main colors and they're your key colors, then you can start to bring in other colors as well. So you've already mentioned you've got that kind of yellowy color. You could introduce that, a brighter red, to introduce that as well. And suddenly, without even having to do any kind of design course or anything else, you've got something. You're already there. You're already there. It's just the tweaking. It's even what I've done that I'll show you later is basically based off of everything you've got. It's just tweaking around with it, playing around as you're going to see. So going further down, we like all this. This is all good. I mentioned the blue. We've got here now. This is really important for me, I think, because you've said here right down the bottom, you've got 2 weeks free training. So this is really, really key. And I want to make more of a point of that. And I think you should make more of a point of that on the site. And I'll look at that later. So I'm going to leave that bit for now. I'm going to jump down to the social media icons. Good job, Peter, putting those in there.
Yeah, the only thing on the wording, right, the YouTube, Facebook, and the Instagram word, I wanted to change the colors of the words, right? But for some reason, it just wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah, it's because you've got links. You've used icons here, haven't you?
Yeah, I added that afterwards.
Yeah, and you'll notice on the icons, you can't put a link on there.
I didn't actually check that, I think.
Right. Well, lucky you didn't, because you cannot.
You cannot. Okay, that's good. That's good. I might have even checked it. I don't remember.
Well, you can if you put an image in there. And later on, I'm going to show you. I've got a little pack that I'm going to send you after this, so that you can have those. So down the bottom, I haven't really got any problems with the bottom at all. Maybe the mouse over color here, just go blue, so it makes it really hard to see. But that's based in your branding, in your footer, in the branding.
Okay.
Okay, and you've got the icons on here. Again, they're hovering, so they're going blue. That's good. Anyway, we don't have to really touch.
I think the top, the top menu bar, if you hover, I think it's a different color, because for some reason I wasn't able to change the color. I think so, but there's no color right now. It used to be some lighter blue or something.
Yeah, that's in the. We can have a quick look at that as well. But we've also got up here, while we're up here, in the header area. Now, I'm not sure that you did this on purpose or whether it was just or you meant to do this. But your logo in here, were you intending this logo to be in this tight white box?
No, actually not. But this was all the logo, because I used to have a little bit different logo, because you can't really see it. Okay, if you look very carefully at the blue part of the logo, there is actually an image of me having a martial arts pose, but it's kind of leaked out, so you can't really see it. But in the other one, that image was actually a different color, if I remember. But I can't find all the fonts I used to have. It's because moving them from this computer to this computer, I lost some of it. put it on the external hard drive. The hard drive partly fried. I could only save some of it. Now you can see it a little bit, but it was much cleaner in the other version I had.
Right. Okay. Because what about it being in that white box? Because
no, I prefer it actually to be like clean, like cut out transparent.
Perfect. Good. All right. So because this is an area, this is the dynamic header. So this is an area that I can't actually go and make a change to it unless you give me the okay to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah, like for example, like I think also it should be a little bit bigger. Because, for example, if you look at the symbol now, you can see the post that looks kind of nice. And I also like, because the Chinese symbol, it means martial arts, right? So any person who is Chinese would immediately recognize that symbol and say, oh, that's Chinese martial arts.
Yeah, for sure. And also the other thing about this is that we're making it bigger and it's cut out. So it means if you change that background color that you've got there in that kind of dark blue gray that you've got, that kind of gunmetal color, if you did change that color, if it's cut out, then that color will change behind it.
Okay.
So behind this area, not the actual logo. So we're going to break into doing some vamping on this now. So we're going to change some things around, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And we're going to be using, to make the logo bigger, we're actually going to be using some CSS. Now, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to drop the code in there. Guys, like anyone watching this, if you want to know how to do this logo changing with like CSS, jump into the NZ Masterclass bundle. That's on tutorials.zenler.com. Go into the Ninja Tricks course, and you will find in there how to change a logo, okay? Logo size. Now, coming with the new version of Page Builder, hopefully we should have this built in so it will no longer be a CSS issue. You can actually do it. But for logos like this, it is a classic case that it needs to be bigger. Because like as Peter said, you can't even see the little picture in there.
It's funny because I also noticed, like when I watch other presentations from you, that there was like other sites, and then I saw the logo and somebody had some writing in there in the logo, and you couldn't actually read the name of the business. And it would be nice, like for example, like if my name of my business was also somewhere on top with bigger letters, because people immediately know where did I land. Because right now it actually doesn't really say my name.
Yeah, I mean. You could, because although you've got the header along the top, and this is dynamic, so it means if you change it in one place, as you know, it changes throughout your whole site. But you could also put stuff above the header, but you'd need to copy that and put it into every page, which initially can be a lot of work. But I think you've got like maybe 20 pages in your site, so it's not going to take it'll take you less than 20 minutes to do it. You just paste them straight in. So once you've set it, you can put them straight in there. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to change this logo over to the new version. But before I start that, I want to show you the files that I've created for Peter so that he can see what we're going to do. So one of the other ones that I just want to point out was this image here, which is a great image. It's got Peter there. What's this weapon called, Peter?
It's called a pu dao.
Oh, right.
In English, I think they call it a horse cutter.
Horse cutter.
Yeah, I guess in the old days, that's how they cut the horse's legs off so that they get the fighter off the horse.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, I mean, it was one way if somebody had a big old weapon and he was sitting on a horse. If you don't get him off the horse, you're probably going to die. So,
yeah. Right. Okay.
I guess that's what they were used for,
Wow. Wow. Well, I looked at this image and there was a couple of things. One is, and I mentioned this on the critique, it would be good to have you connected to the ground.
Yes.
Because it's a good image. And actually, the more I look at it, the more I think it actually works being on there because you've got a darker color, but it gives you no flexibility. If I was to put a lighter color in there, because there's no grounding underneath your feet, it will look like you're stuck in there, like one of these people have cut magazine thing out and stuck it on a page. So it's great. You've cut it out really well. I did notice that when you cut it, you actually cut the end of the?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, and down
Yeah,
here.
originally the original background was really, really bad. And I don't remember what I used to cut it out, but I think it was a site, a software about called OVO. I think that's what I used to cut it out. I also noticed like under my right leg, there is like this piece of black thing hanging there, and I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. It's not really.
It's probably some kind of background too.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can't really notice it because it's dark.
Yeah.
So, but you did a really good job there of cutting it out. So kudos to you there.
Thank you.
That's a really good one, especially the hair, which is normally people make it look really funny when they cut the hair out. Just the thing. So anyway, I've put together a little sheet of little stuff that I've put together for you. So one is here. This is the original image. As you can see, the original image has got the cut off on the weapon, both sides. So I've actually done a brand new version of that where I've actually retouched in the end of the weapon and put it here. But you'll notice the coloring under the feet.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Looks really good. That looks really good.
So that grounds you. It creates a physical ground, even though there's nothing there, rather than just like you're floating.
Very nice. Looks very nice.
Yeah, so you can see that. That's all done. I actually did all that in Photoshop, but you can use, there's a program called pixlr.com. It's free. You can go in there, mess around with drop shadows and spray stuff behind the back of your feet, which is basically what I did there, to get these kind of grounding effects. All right, so that's one program. I'm not going to go into it, but this here is the image. Now, what you're going to see, this is one of the page images. What you're going to see here is this image. I've actually cut it slightly off at the bottom, but it's exactly the same ratio as this image.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yes.
So I've cropped the side off here, which we don't need. Still got the Wushu Academy behind you. Okay, yeah. Just about got it in there. But this is where it'll make a big difference when we put these images in there, because they will be consistently the same width and height.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you. So I was playing around, social media icons. Here's a few social media icons that I just got these. These are free icons. I just got them off as images. So I'm going to send you this pack, Peter, anyway, for you to play around with. We've also got white ones here. And I was also playing around with using a different font for California Wushu, just to make it kind of a little bit cool on that side of things. So I've created this kind of banner coming up at the bottom.
Cool. Yeah, it looks very nice.
So it's kind of like handwritten, almost like a sign off for the end. So I've given you a little pack of white ones and black ones here that, again, you could use them in various places. And now your logo. So this logo here, I've tidied up the edge. It's actually got a white background around the outside. So this is going to work really well. I'm just going to open this up in Photoshop, which is the program I use. And I'll show you how it will look on different colored backgrounds, because having that cutout is really going to help. It would be better to have if you can find that higher res logo, it would be better. Yeah,
I will try. I might need to check some more places.
Yeah, but it's here we go. It's here. So let me just add. Give it a chance. So if I dropped something in on the back here, you can see.
Yeah.
So this is going to give us, I've given you a little black background going around it, and then I've got a little bit of a white border. So this is going to be good, because it means that if you go and change any of the background colors, it's still going to work. So it's sliced out. So this is the logo I'm going to use. If we look at this actual size, you can see you clearly there. And this.
Yeah, you can see everything. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than kind of like that.
Yeah, that one, the picture doesn't make any sense anymore, because it just looks like it's blue, but then it's not very nice blue if you can't see it. But now you can see there's like an actual pose
Yeah, I mean, if you're going small, you've got to keep things really basic. As soon as you start adding these tonal colors inside here, and then you reduce it down, it just looks like it's kind of messy in there.
Yeah.
So it's either, if you're using that, it's got to be a nice clear image and you can see it on screen like that. So that's so that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to jump into, so this is a little pack which I'm going to send to Peter. And this is how it's going to work, guys. You know, if I'm critiquing your site, I'm going to do some extra bits and I'm going to be doing some work beforehand, playing around, because design, you know, I'm not just going to jump on a site. I can pick you up on, like, you know, needs more air in there and maybe think about using different colors. But I need time. Like if you're designing something, one, you need to look for inspiration. You need to look through the site. I know quite a bit about this site now because I've read things, I've watched some videos, and Peter told me before we started this about the site as well. So I know a lot about it. So when you get, from a design point of view, as a website designer, you get into what it's about and you end up knowing all these subjects on different things. You know, next week it could be cooking cookies or something, you know. so it could be anything. So with this sort of thing, it's really good to get in there and actually see what imagery are you using, what colors have you picked, and then try and get a flavor. I don't want to completely change the site from your vision because you've designed it, so you're happy with it, Peter. But I can look at it and I can take a very soft approach to try and make it better for you, but still keep your vision within it. I'm not going to go ahead with any of these live builds and just do it on my own and just say, right, well, this is what I do. I just do it all completely different to that. That's not what live builds are about. It's taking your vision and just lightly touching it to make it better, or more uniform. So it's still your site, you know.
I mean, I don't have a lot of, what do you call it, background in building sites. I think I maybe built like on one or two other platforms a little bit before, but this was actually I think I built one on Squarespace before, but this was the first one what gives me a lot of, you know, possibilities to change things.
Yeah, but, yeah. You know, yeah, I mean, you know, so what was your experience? You find it easy to use the platform to?
Yeah, actually, yes. I tried a bunch of other platforms. I would say I find this easier than, let's say, Squarespace. I also tried Kajabi before. I found that not too difficult, but I found this more intuitive for everything, not just the website builder. And yeah, and I think I did like Teachable, but Teachable didn't have a lot of options to build your site. So it was easy, but like it didn't let me change anything. Like even some colors, sometimes you couldn't even change the color. I think they changed that right now, but you know, I like this platform. The most important thing I like is that it's all together and that it has live feature with it. Because for me, it's just easy. I open one thing and then boom, I'm here. I can do everything from there. I don't have to hook this up and that up, and you know, I'm sure for some people they might need an extra email service, but I think for everybody who just started, I think this is more than enough. I mean, I haven't even touched the emails much. I mean, I do a little bit, but no.
So I mean, it's great. You know, it's a glowing review from Peter there on how easy it is to work with the Zenler page builder and build things. So that's great. And you know, like you can learn as much or as little as you want, as long as it works with your business. That's the main thing. I think it's really good about your site, Peter, is it don't quite complex because you're actually doing live critiques and then giving feedback. So you're actually using it to how we kind of envisage it and beyond, because we're going to be creating lives where people can pay for them as well, and they're put straight into the courses. So for you, it's going to be brilliant, because as we head towards that, it's going to make the things that you can do even easier for you.
Yes. Yeah. Like recently you added the PayPal, because I'm living in Taiwan right now and I wanted to use Stripe, but I can't. So I had to wait for PayPal. So currently all the students are just paying me manually. You know, I basically just gave to my PayPal account and they just drop it in there. But you know, of course, if I had more students, that would be not very handy. it will be much easier if it's just automatic, even for them too, because they don't have to bother with it all the time.
Yeah.
So that was a really nice feature.
Yeah, that's superb. That's really good. I'm so glad. Yeah, but because you found a way around it though. You found a way around it. So you were like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm going to take manual payments and then I'll just allow them in and I'll let them in on that. So you've worked your way around the system to make it work for you. So PayPal's come along, helped you out with that. Hopefully the live things that come in, because that's what we're aiming at now. It's kind of like people like you that want to teach live. You know, it's like lots of therapists, they need to come in and actually talk one-to-one and take payment for something. So we realize it's such a big part
that makes
of
sense.
this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if I was say if I was to hire you and to say to on a one-on-one for 1 hour to help me improve my sales page or something, and then I can just I can just directly pay for that 1 or 2 hour service instead of like a membership or something. That's very easy actually. It's nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good. So right, I'm going to jump back to the site because I want to make a few changes quite quickly. I'm being very careful when I screen share because this is a live site. Obviously there's Peter's allowed me into the site and there are students in here and I don't want any of that to be shown. So if I'm ultra careful about things, that is the reason why. So I'm going to first of all be jumping into the branding section so I can change the logo up. Okay, right. So it might be hop on, hop off of the screen share. So we have our logo in here. This is the one with the white behind it. Okay, so we're going to change this over. So I'm going to upload the fav icon's absolutely going to be fine because we actually probably want it with a white behind it. Look, it shows up there. It's quite nice. So let's go and upload the new one. So I'm going to hit the upload button. I've actually got it in the library already, so I don't need to upload. You're going to see lots of images in here. There it is there. So I'm going to select that. There it is. Become a bit sharper straight away, especially with that leading edge line there. In fact, it might be worth putting that one in because it's just got a bit of more of a stronger back to it. There you go. It's a bit stronger. It's going to be stronger up there now. So with that done, that logo should replace. So I don't even think I have to save it for this. So I'm going to check it out. And refresh. And there we go. Happy with that, Peter?
Yes, that looks great.
Right. So we're now going to just change the size of this logo. So I'm going to be using a little bit of CSS to do this. Like I said before, Ninja Tricks course, NZ Masterclass bundle if you want to do this. It's pretty easy stuff. It's going to take me a few minutes to do it, probably less. So I'm going to take this little logo and I'm going to change it. Peter, tell me if you're happy with the size of it.
Yeah, I think this is good. Maybe slightly big. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is great. Yeah, I think I can see everything very clearly.
Yeah, you can definitely see you now. You can see the figure.
Yeah.
So that looks good. So I'm going to be putting a bit of CSS into this. So sorry, I've got to stop the screen share. Going to go to site, into clues. Let me just make sure. Get rid of that code. All right, good. But back again. So guys, all I did was go into site settings, and then we got global includes. So inside here, I'm going to be setting up the CSS for this, right? This is the only bit of CSS that I'm actually doing in here. And as I said before, it's all in the Ninja Tricks course. So there we go. Oops. All right. So that's it for that. And now if I refresh this, we should have the logo. Give it a bit of time. Oh.
something changed.
Sorry, guys. Don't want to mess it all up for you, Peter.
Don't worry.
Oh, the joys of working live. Right. And this guy, this is why it's dangerous playing with CSS code. Yeah, I did that on purpose. I'll pretend I did it on purpose. Right. So there you go. We can see we've got this image now. So if you go to any of the pages, you've got this lovely image going on in here. And that looks good. I'm actually going to make some changes after this finishes, Peter. I'm actually going to drop this menu down so it all looks a bit better. But that is a big difference. So just by cutting out that image, making it bigger using a bit of CSS, we can actually see. Now, this is really, really important for you guys that are using rounded images or high images for your logos. If you're using long images with text or something that's quite long, then it generally shows better. But for these longer images, what happens is they get pushed down in size. So then images like this, where it's really important to see the wording on this and the little image that he's got in there, then it's really important that that image is big, is maximized, you know, within reason. So we decided on 100 pixels there. So that's why we've done that. So it makes a massive difference to the site straight away. And I know lots of people are actually adding CSS to their sites to actually do this sort of thing. So with that done, I'm going to jump across back to the pages, and we're going to look at the page. So here we go. So I'm working in a non-destructive manner here. So I don't want to affect Peter's homepage. You know, I don't want to be messing things up on the homepage. So a good rule of thumb is to, once you have your basic design down and you might be running it as a live site, don't touch the pages. Just do some tests on another page. Really easy in Zenler. You just need to come across to here and you just need to duplicate the page or clone the page. So we got it there. We're going to hit clone the page, and it's going to create this new version of the page up here called a copy. We're going to go, and we do not want it published because it can be picked up by search results. So if this is a page you're working on and just looking at, leave it unpublished. So to unpublish it, we hit the little gear icon and we just check that off. And if you want to, you can call it something like test page for live build. You know, I can change this. No one's going to see this page. We're just testing it out. And then we click update. And then in here, you're going to get that new URL and it's there. And if we check out by hitting the little preview, And Peter has a different homepage for logged in and logged out users. So this is the logged out users page. So we see it here, and it's preview on, and this is his site. So now I can safely go into this page and edit it without actually messing the live site up. And then at the end of it, if you're happy with it, Peter, you can just swap the pages out, or you can try. Yeah. So it's really easy. Yeah, to swap the pages out, go into your home page, pick the new page. I would rename this, obviously. This is the page that I set up earlier that we're going to look at the end. I'm just going to go in and make some tweaks to this page. And I'm going to show you what I do with a full build. All right. It's just time constraints to be able to go through this. Obviously, it takes a long time because you're playing around with things, making sure it all works. And unless I want this video, this live to go on for the next 4 hours, that's not going to happen. So I have to take you through it quick. I'm sure Peter won't be hanging around for 4 hours.
4 hours from now, I might be falling asleep. It's 8 o'clock here in Taiwan.
Oh, it's 8 o'clock. All right. Okay. Right. So we'll be quick. I'm going to go into the edit now. And inside the edit, there's a few things I want to do. Now, Peter's chosen Coda is the font type for his main headings. And I think you've got Lato for your main text, body text. Yeah, so, which is good. You know, Coda's all right, but I just wanted to keep everything kind of in the same font. It's up to you if you want to keep it that way or not, Peter. It's up to you. So first thing I did was I looked at this image. It's a really good image, but I wanted something a little bit more impactful for this. Now, again, this is just me. You know, this is not going to make the site, you know, if you want this image on that top part, because you've got students in there, then good. The only thing that I had with this image that was distracting for me was a lot of the stuff going on in the background, not the students and not you here or here, but it was kind of this stuff in the background. And I know I talked to you about this, Peter, as well. Peter's in the middle of sort of setting up different shots so he can get it better in your studio, but it's something to watch out for. It's like you have got like a bin here and these kind of things. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So it happens, you know, without actually retouching everything out or changing the backdrop or cutting all the people out like you did for you. It'll take you a good day to do that. So I was looking for a different image. And I remember this is a test page. This is not live. So I can play around, and that's the whole point of it. You can play around with these things. So the image that I went for was one of these ones.
That's my son, by the way.
Pardon?
I say that's my son, the little boy with the yellow t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's good. Like this one here, I really like this one. It's really impactful. And, you know, there's lots of things that are going on. And I like this because it was kind of in a kind of strike. Is it a strike pose? Kind of a strike, isn't it? So. Yeah.
It's the basic stance with a punch.
Yeah. So this is good. The other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but when you actually upload an image into the background, you get a background image position. So you can go ahead and you can play around with different positions of that image in there. And you can see that's a good one. But you also get this thing here where you can bring this up and down. So you can show more of that image or not. Now, if you get rid of the one at the bottom, which I think you've done, you don't then have access to it anymore. So you can't pull the bottom down. But it's all right, we can leave it as it is. Now, the other thing I was going to do was, and in fact, I did left it as black, but I like to play around with different colors and just see how they look to get a different impression of how it's going to strike you. Because that, to me, will grab you just by changing that color to a red there from this. It kind of like, whoa, you know, it causes you to sort of look twice at it. So doing things like that can really help. You can play that might be a bit too much. But you see what I'm getting at? It's kind of like, whoa, maybe that's too much red. So what I decided with in the end was to actually come across, leave it in this darker color, but try and pick it up with the button that you've got there. So in your button where you've got this background color going on here, what I did was I changed it to a red like that.
Yeah.
So you see how it now kind of comes alive a bit more, whereas it was blue before. Now it's got that red in there and it catches your eye a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's more sharp.
Yeah, so it's that real big contrast where you've got these big sort of call to action blocks. If you can have something in there that's really contrasty, that you just, when you look at that, you just look at the red part. Red is really, really powerful color. It's used by lots of the Renaissance artists in their images. So if they're painting something, they will not use much red. It's always a diluted form of red, but somewhere in the painting, they'll put a little dot of red. The whole reason that they do that is to draw your eyes to that point. You won't even see the red. You'll look at a painting and you'll look at a spot where that red is, and then you'll work your way out from it. So that's why they do it. So to use it, to take that and to use it in your design is a really powerful thing. Now, red's one of the most powerful colors for a looking aspect, but you can also use things like people. Like, so if you've got hands like this facing each other, people will instinctively look in the middle. So you can use actually your images to get people to point in various directions. Like, this is a really good image because you could start on the left hand side, and then because you're pointing this way or you're punching this way, you instantly look across, which is actually quite good. Gives a nice flow into that's just the image, you know. So, but these things, you know, it makes a lot of difference. So moving on from this, we have the font type that we've picked here. Now you have picked, and there's nothing wrong with it, you picked a Coda, but Coda doesn't give you much or many options.
It only gives you two. I sometimes wanted to use like a medium, but it doesn't have that.
No. So I chose Lato. There was another one that I chose, which I can't, what was the one I chose? I thought it was a really nice color, a really nice font for this, because I'm also looking at, although it's a martial art, it's a very kind of soft kind of, you've got this nice round, you know, like you're doing your katas and stuff. There's nice kind of these moves. So I was thinking like, and your logo's round and it's kind of very balanced, you know, martial arts are very balanced, mind and body. So introducing a kind of round element in there would be really good. And you've kind of got that a bit with Coda. But I was looking at, what was I looking at? Let me see if I can, here we go. Montserrat Alternative. This really worked for me because it's got.
Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah,
it does. But there's one thing that really annoys me. I would have stuck with this one, and you might not have a problem with it. But my problem is that when you use the capital T, it looks horrible to me. So if I just put the T in here, this is the capital T.
Yeah, it looks like a roof.
That alone put me off using this font, because that's the only letter that it kind of doesn't look right. And we do use T in a few places. So for me, I didn't go with this, but it did have all the options that we like, because under the font styles, we have everything in here. We've got thin italic, extra light, regular, bold, extra bold, black. So when you're picking a font, just have a look, you know, before you set them in your branding, just go in the page and play around with different fonts and see a font that gives you a lot of opportunities to run it through. Because if I go and change this to like a black here, it's really strong, but I have the option here to change it to something like a really thin.
Oh, so, yeah, that is very nice.
Yeah, so it gives me this real good thing. And imagine, like, generally you have them bolder for headings, but you have something like introducing it a bit lighter, which I'll show you later. So the reason I didn't go for the Montserrat alternates, okay, if you want to remember that, or you can rewatch this back, Peter, if you like.
Yeah,
if you want to use it, you can. But the reason I went for Lato was for the same reasons, because Lato, which you automatically picked anyway, has a lot of choices in there. So you can see here, it is a bit sharper on the W's and things, but I can live with it because I've got so many choices in here. I can really change these around and get that kind of same feel. So I went with Lato throughout your whole site, and I stuck with any of the headings are going to go into bold, and any of the subheadings are going to go into a lighter color. And I can show you my little breakdown sheet of what I used, specs there. So this is what I do generally for pretty much every job. So when I play around with fonts, which can take a while to find the right font, I'll then go around and I'll play with different sizes, and I'll start to look how they play on each other. Automatically, Peter's already done a good job of setting sort of default sizes on here, but I've made a few little tweaks, and I've said on the main headings, I'm going to go for Lato Black, 55 point pixels. Then I'm going to go for Lato Light for subheadings. Okay, and then for main text or body text, I'm going to go for Lato Regular at 18 point. And for any buttons, I'm going to use Lato 18 pixels in black. So I played around with these. I know they work. So that's how I go ahead and kind of get things ready. Now, what it means with this sheet is that I can just open another page up and I know what size, what font type I'm going to use for my headings, because it's all there. So having a little sheet like this can really be a massive time saver, Peter. This is included to the pack to you as well.
Yeah, you are right. What I usually do is I wrote it, I write it like in a notebook, and then later on I have to find them in the pages. Like, I'm like 3 notebooks further, and I don't know if it's in book 1, 2, 3 in the middle. I got that, they're like temporary solutions, but it's better to just be organized.
Yeah, but you've done you're doing it then, so great. That's the main thing. It doesn't matter how you get it down, it's just so you can remember it. Generally, if you've done your whole site that way, you don't need it anymore, because you go in and you'll clone the page, and then you can just look at what you've done before and then just apply it to refresh your memory. But I think after you've done 20 pages, you're going to remember all of the font sizes, the types, and the size as well. Yeah. So I went ahead and changed all these over to Lato, and I put them in. I'm not going to go through them all because you get the idea. So
yeah, got it. Yes,
34, and then for this I used the light, so you can see there, and this one as well. Now we have lower and uppercase here, which is all right. But we need to keep it consistent. So on the Learn More, we need to keep the same size. So it's definitely worth maybe even cloning this button out, taking the button and rewording it, but dropping it into like this area. So you can really quickly keep the same consistency. Then you'd go into the button here. Let me take it down here. Yeah. And obviously drop your link in under your settings. And this is something I do quite a lot, is I'll actually, if I can, I'll duplicate an area so I don't have to work on it. When you look at the block that I've done in here later on, you're going to see that I've done this block down here, and I've done it in the same way just by duplicating it out. So you get the idea. Like in here, I was saying to you, Peter, about spacing. I know you've put a little bit of spacing in here, but or padding, sorry. So you need to come into the padding area, and there needs to be a bit of space, a bit of air around it, to just let it breathe. You see how it's now breathing a little bit more. It'd probably even go to 10 on this. If we look, compare it to this, where it's really tight.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yes, yeah, it looks much nicer. Yeah, I think I misunderstood that one a little bit.
You did it here.
Yeah, I did it there. I just what I thought for the grade part, for the writing, what I actually did, I kind of like whenever there was a dot, I separated that part of the sentence out to put a space between it. Like after Jackie Chan, then I put a space between it. That's what I understood.
Yeah, well, that's good as well. That helps. That helps kind of break it up a bit. Remember also, you guys, you've got line height in here as well. You can set the line height. So between the paragraphs down here, we have a line height. We got a line height of 30. But if I was to change this to like 20, it's all going to jump really close. Yeah. General rule of thumb is I always do it like 5 more. So if I've got 20, I'll put it in at 25. Keeps it a nice thing. If you do it any more than that, then it tends to look a little bit too spaced. You know?
Yeah, can see that. Yeah.
But you had it at 30 in there. I think this is all right. I'd probably do it to 25. Just looks a little bit closer, doesn't bash into each other, and you've got that space around the outside. So little things like the learn more, you know. Also remember all your buttons and things, make sure that your font sizes are the same in all the buttons and that you're consistent with it. So you're using uppercase and lowercase. If you're doing that, use it throughout all the buttons. Don't do one in uppercase and the other one in lowercase and mix it up, because it just adds a bit of confusion in there. So the other one was down here on this, where we had like this. It's good to switch it up a bit. You can be quite playful with some of the colors that you're using. So if we've got the red there, we could put the red in there for that one. And then for the button for that, we could leave it blue. You know, so you've got a little bit like, oh, that's blue, and it's a red button down there, and that area it's red, and then there's a blue button down there. It kind of makes sense, and it keeps it lively. If it's all the same color, it's probably, I'd say it's the number one thing that people do that don't do design, is they'll use the same color over and over and over and over again, and it just becomes, it doesn't give the impact. By introducing a new color, whether it be, because I mean, with your site, we know blue works, we know red works, we also know black and shades of gray work as well with this. Yeah. So these are the colors that we have. Now, later on, when you expand or you do anything else, you could say, right, well, I'm really going to start now introducing this yellowy color into it, or a mustardy color into it. I'm going to see how that plays with it. If you're going to open another area of your site, you could think about doing that, because you have that ability, like you said, like your dojo is all, you've got that maroon color, which you could introduce in there. You've got that wall color. You've also noticed there's a blue going around the outside that would work really well with this as well. And I think that's why you've kept that header in this kind of color here. It's not quite, it's darker, but
I remember before at my school, like if you look at this picture, this is a very old picture, the back wall is white, but later on that turned into some kind of yellowish color. And then the bottom, where they have like a little plastic piece on the wall that kind of connects the wall to the floor, that's gray. And then the carpet was maroon. And the uniform was navy with white shirts, navy pants with white shirts. And then later on, the instructors actually had a yellow shirt, just the same color as the wall.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so we had quite a few different colors in there.
Yeah, so it's good because you've got all these colors, they do work with each other. So from your, you know, for you, it's quite good because you can just pick these colors out. You haven't got to create a brand new palette. You've already got it there. So it's just playing around with those kind of colors. So I'm going to move down through here. So you've seen what I've done with the top. I would definitely move this up, but I'm going to show you what I've done after I just go through this quickly. So down here, I like this little arrow going down, but I don't think, why have we got that arrow in there, Peter? Have you got that arrow in there because there's a big gap between the two and you want to tell people there's more information?
Yeah, well, I just thought it would, I don't know, I just thought I, have something that goes ding, ding, like something to grab people's attention. But I guess a big old YouTube screen will do that too, if I put a nice picture there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's good. It's good using the arrows are quite good, but you need to be a little bit careful with some of the animation within the site. So using things like arrows is really good, but try and keep it. You need an arrow. You need it sort of going down if there's a lot of a gap in the page, or it's kind of a story. Because people should be reading. Your page should be set out in a way that's a story. And if we look here, you've done it naturally. You've got up the top what's going on, claim your 2-3 weeks, and then you've got what we teach, Wushu training programs, and then it goes into what we teach. So it's really important. We're going through the story. You start with the most important one, which is modern Wushu, and then we move down to, oh, right, okay, I can get fit with this as well. So you've moved them in the story there, and then you've got underneath that, look, what are my students doing? Like, go down here. So you are forming a story through the page, even if you didn't think you were.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, you just did it naturally. It's one of those things sometimes with design, when you're laying pages out, you just do it in the order. You don't even think about it, but you do it for a reason. Normally, it's like putting clothes on in the morning. You just pick that shirt, pick that stuff. You're making conscious decisions when you're doing this stuff, but you're on autopilot. If you can listen to yourself and have confidence in yourself that you're making the right, don't try not to think about things too much, just do it. And it tends to work out well. It's when you start looking at every little thing that it slows you right down, and then you give up on it because you're looking at it too closely. So what you've done there, Peter, is really good. So it's our mission. Here we go. So you've got what our students have to say. So it follows on from the video where we've got a little bit of action going on. So like I said in the critique on A Day with Zenler, nothing's wrong with this site. It's just like little tweaks, like the storyline through this homepage is really good. You've got testimonials going on. You've got our training down here, and then you've got your social media down here, which is it really important? I mean, I said on the critique, because I wasn't talking to you, but is it really important, your social media channels, to you?
Not too much, because usually if I create a video, something for, so usually what I did right now so far, I showcase some of my previous students and some tournaments and that kind of stuff. But what I wanted to do also for YouTube, for example, I might do every week or every month, I make a video to show people a move, and they can kind of follow along, like an instructional video to just kind of grab attention. But most of the videos, when I put them on one side, I put them on the other side as well. I thought like that they could be important because all three are kind of visual, and since my martial arts is very visual, I think it would definitely I think help me to just get the exposure. Yeah,
I think it would, especially with martial art sites. They do really well if you can regularly post something up on YouTube. I know you're looking for the marketing course when it's coming out, which will be coming out pretty soon, the basic marketing course. And I know Kevin's running a few networking courses and Google Ads as well. When they come out, you definitely check it out, because there's a big section. That's what I do. I'm a YouTuber, and I know that martial arts is really, really popular. Having a look at that and actually posting to that could really drive traffic into your website, because it's so visual, it's so visual.
Yeah, it's so visual. And I think the other reason why I choose those is because, they're free, right? So, I mean, I could not have a Facebook page, but then I buy ads. And that might be great too, but I would rather do them combined, because, I mean, if somebody saw a video I posted, I think the main problem for me is when I use the sites, right? Like, I'm learning as I go along, so I keep updating. For example, like I learned that like the description of the Wushu is important, or the YouTube description, that's important. So I try to get it a little bit better. And then you can have these little tags on there where I put, what do you call it, Wushu, Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts or something. So whenever people search for that, and then I downloaded this little app from, I think it's an add-on to Google Chrome, and it works with YouTube. And basically, if I enter the title for my YouTube video, it will tell me whether the title will be overused or not searched enough, or searched enough and not used very much. That means, like if I put in online Wushu training, am I going to rank on number 100 or I'm going to rank in the top 5? So now I think if you type in online Wushu training, I'm definitely in the top 10. And that was because I used that little app. I forgot what the name was, but I downloaded it from Google Chrome store, and it worked.
Yeah. In fact, it's probably like the Google Trends or Keyword Planner.
Yeah, I can check it. I can send it to you later. Maybe it's good to share with other people.
Yeah, definitely post it on the group for sure, because people will be interested. I mean, it's probably when we're looking at the basic marketing course, we're looking at all of those tools, and it's mainly all based around Google. So it'll probably be the same sort of thing, but you've got an app version of it, which I'm sure people would love to hear about.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I when I heard about it, like I heard it from another video, and I was like, yeah, this is really, because most of us doing these courses and online training stuff, we know our stuff, but we don't know how to do all the other stuff. It's just like running my martial arts school before. You have to do marketing, you have to do, you have to be in the front of people's face, you have to talk to the parents and make the parents understand what we're doing, with the kids. And, and if kids have trouble at home, you have to help the parents. Like, that's why I have another site called, my parenting site, that was actually based off of like helping parents with their kids, because they always listen to me and they didn't listen to them. And then from there I started helping them with that before.
Yeah.
Kind of works together.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Okay, good. Right. So you can see like what we've done here, what we've talked about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, because I know we've just gone over an hour now, and I know that Peter, it's getting late for him.
So I'm okay. I don't sleep until like 12 or 2 or something.
All right. Okay, good. Right. So we've looked at these points, about changing colors and things like that. So I've actually done stuff. Now, remember I showed you just a while ago the little pack that I made up. Made up lots of these assets already. They're already in there. So I've done things like changing the size of these. So I'm going to show you the page now that I've created. So guys, if you want to play around with your page and just try things out, remember that tip: duplicate the page, unpublish it, go in there, play around, try and find things that work. And you might have happy little accidents that happen. Try some of the pre-made blocks that we've already got inside the system. Try some of the call to action blocks and things like that. Try adding them in and playing around with them. And like I said to Peter about using things like the slide gallery that we have, which is down somewhere, slideshows. Try playing around with that. I did a video on that, which I'll actually send to you, Peter, afterwards, so you can sort of see how I did it. But I've actually just used your blocks because I thought, actually, do you know what? There's only 3 of them, so it's perfect to fit on the page. So I'm going to jump into what I've actually done now with the site, and we're going to just do a kind of comparison. So guys, if you want to work on a page, don't want to interfere with your site, just make sure that you duplicate that page to clone it, okay? Unpublish it, work on the page, and when you're happy with it, you can switch it over. So to switch it over, for instance, you can go to home page, and then you can just choose that new page that you've created, which I was one of these ones. I think I called it training or something. I'm not going to switch it over. Don't worry, Peter, I'm not going to switch it over. So it's down here somewhere there, and I would choose that, and that would then become the live page. All right. So I'm going to show you what I've done with Peter's page. I'm going to close this, and we'll keep this one up, and I'm going to go into the page here. So this is the page that I've done. This is how I kind of saw it based on what Peter's already got and with this kind of lighter approach to it. So all I've done is change some colors. I've just put things around the background and I've loaded in some of the social media pages so you can see. So I'm going to open this up now. And this is the new site page. So this is a new home page. So what you're seeing here is obviously we've got a nice logo there. It's exactly the same as this. Although I've changed the background color and made it slightly darker. You'll also see that this navigation area is slightly lower as well to center it in the circle. In fact, I could probably bring it down a few more pixels so that it's centered with that circle there. You can also see in here that I've used the Lato text and I've made it into black and I've kept it at a certain pixel size as well as the subheading size. So you can see this is a bit lighter here and this is a bit bolder. Now, I chose this more dynamic image in here, as I've already talked about, and instead of making the whole thing red, which was a bit too much, I just did a border around the outside and then just put this in here using all capitals.
I really like that border, by the way. That really makes it stand out.
What, here, around here?
Yeah, that little border. Yeah, I really like that because it's not too red, but it like has that immediately you get, like when you open the page, I was immediately looking at that, like, you know, like drawn to it.
Yeah, that's it. It draws you in and it's not too much. You know, I think that going full red on that was maybe a bit too much. So this is where you just play around, you know, add a little border to them. It's basically exactly the same as your original site. I've just tweaked it a little bit. Now this is now one line. Okay. It's the main heading part to it and there, and we've got that image in there, but you could swap that image out, Peter, that's up to you. But if you notice at the bottom here, I've also put a blue line.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, looks very good.
I did have a red line, but it just looked a little bit too much separation. I wanted the page to kind of live together. It's all about trying to separate the blocks out. Like we got the story, but we're trying to separate those blocks out. So you can see here, again, we've used lighter text here, and then we go into the bolder text here. And as we go through, what you're seeing now is you're seeing this inside here. It's all centered, it's blue, and it comes up to the top of the image. And then we got this line coming down here of white, it goes around. And we've got this, and I decided to go for black in the end for the button for main in pages, but I wanted it to be full width. You don't have to, you can have it normal size if you wanted to. But this image here is the new resized image, and it matches the exact size of this image.
Yeah, so looks much cleaner now.
Cleaner. And it also, does it also make it as if it's easier to read as well? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I would say easier on the eyes, also with the colors, right? Like it doesn't have an overflow of one color. Like if I looked at mine, I feel like, you know, there's a little bit too much blue, like you mentioned, like it looks like everything is blue, but now it's like a bit red, bit blue, bit white, bit black, you know, a bit of everything. Yeah, it's
just more spaced out on the text too, like it's a bit wider.
And it makes you feel,
to read.
It gives that kind of fresher. So it's like fresher.
Yeah, that's probably the right word. Yeah.
So you've got.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, and you see it kind of, it tailors. So it is a block, it is a story. So, okay, that's one block. I know that's one block and I can read on from it. I did initially, I had this on this side, but it looks a bit odd because of the, if you've got blocks, guys, a little design tip. If you've got a block and it's 50%, so you've got an image that's 50% here and then 50% here, then it's absolutely okay to swap it round underneath. So you could have the image here, 50%, and then text down here. So you could have text here, then an image, 50%. Then underneath it, you could have an image here, text 50%. When you start dealing with ratios that are not splittable, it looks weird. So if I was to take this image, put it over here, and then have this over here, then because it's longer, it kind of splits into here. And it doesn't read. So you read down and you get this red coming out to go across to the other side. So if you're doing these things, make sure blocks are like, if you're going to alternate, make sure it's 50-50. So you're cutting across because then it's very clean and it's like a line being drawn through the page. So you're not sending people, you're basically doing this, and you're not going, you know, jumping across, because it will throw your eye out. If you're in any doubt, just do it as one column like this, and then that will work for you. So moving down the page, where we've got here, which this is a big white space here. This was my problem with this. I needed less of a gap there.
You know, I tried to change that, but for some reason I couldn't make it smaller.
Yeah,
not with the pictures, but I mean, like with between the reading part and the video part, there was like this big space.
Yeah, I had a look at that. Did you make the block up from scratch, or did you pull a block out of the block templates?
I don't remember anymore. I think I might have just, you know, usually I either choose one of the pre-made banners, or I just choose like headline.
Yeah.
Either one, or like a pre-made banner, and then I just take out the picture, and then I will like just make a background I want. But this looks like I just wrote it like a, yeah, maybe I did like a header 3, and then I blew it up a little bit or something.
Yeah, it might have something to do with some spacing, but sometimes some of the blocks that you bring across, they are set. They're supposed to be filled with content, and they're not really. If you start removing stuff from them, it can give a very funny effect. Personally, I always build it from scratch. So if I look at someone else's site and I say, oh, I quite like the look of that, then I'll build it from scratch in there just by adding an empty block and then adding my rows, because you've got full control over it. And it is a good thing to practice with, because in the end, you don't need to use any of the templated blocks. So you might use them for references, but I don't really use any of them. I build it all myself in there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm experienced on this. So use the blocks and play around with them. But if you're getting unexpected results, try and build it from scratch, I think is the key here. So this is the area that I'm looking at now, where it's kind of a big area of white space in here, which really kind of got me. So what I did down here was I played around with the dark black color, because it fits well with your black in there. That's the only reason I did it, because you've got black in there, and I wanted it to kind of stand out on its own. So I did that again in the lighter text, and this in the bolder main text, our students in action. I've changed the wording slightly as well. So you've got check out a video of our students below, and I've got check out the video, and then it says our students in action. So there's a little bit different wording there. Again, Peter, you can change it back or do what you like there. And then right underneath the video, I've then got your mission statement. So it's still in that block rather than separated out here.
Yeah, I like the look. It looks very, again, it grabs my eyes. It grabs my attention with the color changes. And it fit, like you said, it fits very nice with the YouTube video with the sides being black. It almost looks like it's like one and, you know, together. Like,
yeah, and I put a white outline around it to give it a border, because I didn't want it. If I didn't put that down, it was on the black background. There is actually an image here. It's just tinted.
Yeah, I see that. You
can see that. So because the black was going on here, we'd have these little icons down here and here, and they'd sort of look weird because they sit out on their own. Yeah. You know, if you didn't have a border around it, they just kind of sit out on their own, and you just get this middle thing. So putting the white border there again encapsulates the whole thing. So making this work with what you've done, you've taken the video's been shot a portrait, but we've made it work by just adapting the design to fit it in a box, and we've looked at colors that are going to work with these black areas. Yeah, there and there. So you can see I've got an image underneath as well. Some things very, very subtle. Subtlety is key with these things to make things look swish. So moving down here, this is your blocks now. So I've got the same text in there, but it's not kind of like that. And I've also done it with white. It's on a slightly grey background. This is white, this is slightly grayer, and then grayer still. So you've got a kind of like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I see that. Looks very good again. Makes them stand out.
Yeah, especially against this. This is black, so we've gone for white here.
Yeah.
So it's that contrast.
Very good.
Yeah, and then we move down to the bottom. So there we go. So where you've got this, so I'm basically following what you've done here. I've just changed it up. So I've now got this in here. So they come down here and there's a little bit of animation, just pops out, nothing too over the top. Just comes down and pops back. You need to, if you do use this page, you need to link it up to where it needs to go, Peter.
Yeah. Add the links, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So next we got the social media. So down the bottom here, I've now added this social media.
Cool.
We've got that there. These link directly through. And yeah, I've hooked them up to your social media channels, so they go straight through. So you can see where we've got this there, across there. I think the font choice in here is a bit sort of chunky. It's a bit too kind of chunky. It gives it a little bit more style by using that font type.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think the whatever the Coda or something, Coda. Yeah, I only had two options. I didn't want to make it that bold, but it only had that really thin option or the bold option, and the thin one didn't look right either.
Yeah. No, I understand. It's all good. I was going to put the name like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but you don't need to, Peter.
Yeah, people recognize those symbols.
Absolutely. And I was going to use, here we go. So inside our little pack, we have a choice of black ones. So if you want to swap this out for a lighter background, you could use the black ones. We've also got white ones, which would work. But I used the colored ones because I just wanted to give it like a bit of life in this area. So it's a real kind of boom, boom.
I also think the colors works really good too, because it's what people recognize, right? They recognize Facebook as blue and YouTube as red. And so.
Yeah, definitely. And also you've got your picture there in the background. So you've got that and it's on black. It's very laid back. You're not even supposed to see a lot of it. It's just really subtly against there. So this is what I've done with Peter's site. It's basically, although it does look completely different, it's using all the same content and pretty much all the same elements that Peter's already used. It's just how you play around with them. So, so hopefully this live build has really helped you out. One last thing I want to do is load in our picture onto the blog page here. So we got this new picture instead of this one. Is it okay if I do this, Peter, or do you want to do this?
Yes. No, yes, for sure. Yeah.
All right. No. I'm gonna put this into the blog page. So Peter, from your point of view, if you want to use this page, there it is there, some published. You can probably delete this one out. You don't need it anymore. So deleting a page out, really easy. Hit the delete button and it's gone. There we go. So you're just left with this one. So if you want to use it, what I suggest you do is take your home page because you've already got this URL. So what you'd need to do is you need to take this, you need to go into edit, copy this first of all, copy, go into edit, put a 1 or old, type old or put a 1 in there, put a 1 on the end of this URL, okay? Update it, go back to your pages and then change this one to the same as you had for the other page. Click update and then you'll keep that same URL. I'm only saying that in case the page has been indexed by Google.
Yeah, that makes sense. That way it will just change over, right?
Yeah. So, but otherwise you need to. But if you use the same URL that you've already got for your homepage, it will not let you put it in here. So you need to change the other one.
Yeah, I need to change the other one to say old. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Then you can flick it over. So I'm going to jump into the blog now. I'm going to change. These are good. I like your blog posts. Brilliant. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to change the blog itself, which is, I think you've got it. Yeah, it's in the blog post there. So I'm going to go into the blog, edit page, and we should just be able to switch this image straight over. So this could be quite interesting to see the effect that we're going to get with this. You also I think having this new image in there is going to give you a little bit more flexibility on colors that you can use behind it as well.
Yeah.
because you've got that grounding. So I'm hoping I can just put it straight in there. So there we go there. So I'm going to go into the edit settings, go into here, and I've actually already put it up. I think that's it. That's it there. So there it is there. Click save. And there we have it. So look how it's grounded now.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it looks very, very nice. I think if I made the background a little lighter, it would even stand out more. Maybe the background was white or something. Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, you can really see it. And also it doesn't look too much like the header background as well then. So if you chose something like that, you can put this back, Peter, if you want to. But I'll go into here, and because you've got a darker on there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off. So I'm going to pick this transparent one there. Ooh. That's weird. Why is it not letting me change that?
Yeah, I think I might have wanted to change that before.
Yeah, that might be a bug. Keeps reverting back. All right, well, we'll leave it in that for now. I'll sort that out. What I'm basically going to do is I'm going to manually add a block. I'll delete this block out and I'll just add a block in there. Okay, I never use the dynamic in there at all. So I'm just going to put this into the same color. Just leave it like that for now. And let's check your post page. So that's what we had before. So like that. And now we have that.
Yeah, that looks a lot better.
I did a little bit of a kind of motion blur. So it gives it a bit of color going in through here as well. So, you know, you can really play around with these things. If you just learn a little bit about pixlr.com, put an image in there, you can drop shadows and all sorts of things in there.
Yeah, that is the site you mentioned earlier too, right?
Yeah, pixlr.com. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a workshop on it. So I might, or I might do a pre-recorded video and put it on our YouTube channel and into the course, because making content using Canva, using image editing programs like Pixlr is absolutely essential for making your site look good. I mean, you're lucky, Peter, because you're working, you're coaching in Wushu, which is very, creates really good images when you take photographs. But being able to manipulate those photographs is key, like cutting yourself out. A lot of people don't know how to cut themselves out photographs and things, and it's a really good thing to know how to do. So I think I'll follow up with a video on that. I think it'll help a lot of people. Yeah,
that would be really good.
Yeah, so that's it. So I think that is it. I'm going to set, the only thing I'm going to do, if it's okay, Peter, is just to change the header so it looks like this on all of your pages.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'll leave it.
I always notice, because a while back I think you did a workshop, or you did something. I think that was the Ninja Tricks one, where you showed us how to make the logo bigger. And then I did that. It became bigger, but then I noticed that the words didn't follow. And then it kind of looked like there was a lot of space in below what wasn't really used. So I just left it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all right. I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, great. Like Peter's having a go at these things. He'll agree he's not a coder or anything, but he's still having a go at it. He's playing around with his site and coming up and doing, what you've done anyway is really good, Peter. It's just like these whole live builds are just like maybe looking at it in a different way. But you know, if I was to show you this page, you could do it all anyway, because you're doing it. So just little pointers. So brilliant, Peter. So good to meet you, and really good that you let me get my hands stuck in on your website.
Yeah, no, like it was a lot of fun. I think I learned a lot, and I like doing this kind of thing because, I mean, that's how we progress, right? I got one old student of mine reviewed my site for a little bit. He made some changes and stuff like that. But this, definitely looks very nice, and I learned a lot, and I think maybe a lot of other people who watch, they also benefit from this.
Yeah,
because I think that's the key thing we'd be missing, right? We're missing the marketing, we're missing the creative art, like how to use. I mean, Photoshop is maybe not necessary because it's like such a big program, but like something that else what you mentioned, like learning the basics, how to manipulate that picture just by adding that little bit of shadow under my feet and a little bit of motion blur and where my arms are on the picture, it looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these things are these are things that you might use every day. So it's like, I understand it's not. I'm not going to go in and do a whole sort of Photoshop, a 4-week Photoshop program or something like that, because this stuff is expensive. These programs that I use professionally, they're really expensive to buy and keep up the subscriptions with them. The whole point of Zenler is we've kept the price down. You're in at beta, so you've got this evergreen price that isn't, everything else is going to go up in the world, but your Zenler platform will stay the same. Hopefully the money will go up as well, so you're bringing even more in. But what we don't want you to do is have to buy any external subscriptions of any kind, and that's our whole ethos behind it. You pay once for the Zenler platform, and then you've got access to things like Live. If we can introduce Canva and use things like Pixel art to do digital manipulation, means that you haven't got to buy any of that. So that's how I'm thinking. That's how I'm heading towards with anything that I do for the platform. It's like if I can't get it for free, then I'm not gonna teach on it. Or I'm going to ask you, what do you use that's free that you're using or really cheap? I did a video the other day on Camtasia. I know it's quite expensive, but video, if you're producing lots of videos, it can be really, really good, and it can pay for itself really quickly. So, but there are other things as well, for sure.
Yeah, I use some cheaper one, a little bit cheaper. I forgot what it's called, but I did think about Camtasia before. I think I bought the trial. But I noticed that there weren't that many features in there that the other one didn't have, and it was much cheaper. And it has been pretty good so far. I never had any trouble. I mean, you always, when you buy these programs, if you search what people think about it, you're always going to find like negative ones, even for, places like Photoshop. Oh, it crashed my system. But, they're like, I guess there are also people who really don't know. Like there's one like video thing that is free. It's like really big. I think it's like 16 gigabytes, but it's totally free. It's like professional grade video editing free, but my computer only has 16 gigabytes. So if one program took up all my space, I'm not going to be able to use it, So that would be silly, right? And plus, 99% of the features on there we don't ever need. We just need simple things, at least for most of us. Just like the Photoshop, 80% of the things on there we don't really need. We just need some small things. I think the full workshop you're thinking about, like that would be for like people who are in the graphic arts, building websites or something. They charge money for that. Yeah, then you need to be able to deliver something that I couldn't deliver, because if I can do it better than you, then then I don't need to hire you.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. On those wise words, Peter, I'm going to let you get to sleep.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, and it was very nice.
Lovely. All right, Peter. Well, I'll stay in touch with you. I'll make those changes, and I'll also send you the pack as well through. So, guys, like we're going to be running these live builds. I've already got enough for 2 months. I've got so many to do that people keep adding to them, Peter. No, you're the first one in here, but people have added to them. I've got so many. So I'm going to carry this on.
Now everybody wants their site review. Right? Well, I think it's such a nice thing. That's one of the things which I really liked about Zenler, because I told you before, like I was at the other different places. Okay, a couple of things I like. First of all, I like that I can have more than one website with the basic program, because all the other ones, the basic entry program is about the same, right? You know, $39, $40, $45. But then I have only one website, but I had like 3-4 different things I wanted to do, and I could at least, you know, have them. And but the other things is like I like the tutorials you make, like so clear, so precise, no rush. Like in some of the programs, I literally had to read to like a document which was like 3-4 pages long, and then I had to follow it. And it's so much easier because you're actually doing something. So why don't you just have a video and show it? I mean, I think that should be for the platform. That is almost like a must, right? Because you're dealing with other people who don't know what you're doing. To you, all of it is very easy, but to other people, they might be great cooks or something, or doctors, but they don't know anything about how to use the platform. So make it easy. That's the things that really make it stand out. You really seem to be there to actually, to get people who don't know anything, or like who don't have enough budget, but to really get them there. Because I always thought about that. If I was the owner of a site, right? How do I make it so that people who don't have a large budget, let's say in a country where they don't make a lot of money, how can they be successful? Because once they're successful, they can also come to a higher program we might offer, or other things we offer, and they can buy those because now they're making some good money. But how do they get started? Or how do people get started when they don't know how to use it, anything? That's the biggest complaint I see on any of the sites. Is, I don't know how to use it. I get really confused. But
yeah, absolutely, Peter. I'm exactly the same. It's like I've been with platforms before. I've got all my experience in this, but even when you pick up a new platform, you've got to be shown around, and some of the help and support is really bad. I know when me and Kevin joined and came into this, our whole thing was to just get as many training videos, as many different things as we possibly can, and keep contact with the Facebook group, because you guys are telling us what you need. And that critique thing, things come out of it. It's like the critique thing, everybody really liked it, and they keep piling up all me to critique their site. And I was like, well, let's just take this a step further. Let's just reach out, let's reach out and see if this is going to be a good thing. And if it's a raging failure, that's okay, but at least we've tried.
Yeah, you tried. And like I said, like your community, or your customer service too, it's very organized. When I was like at one of the platforms, I'm not going to say the name, but like I remember I tried their free program, and when I tried to reach their support, it literally took them like 45 days to give me a response. And I was like, what if this was like that a customer paid me and I received the money, but now they can't access the course, and that means I have to tell my client. I mean, like, yeah, you can say it's free, but then why do you offer it for free? You offer it for free with the hope that I can just build it enough so that I make a little bit of money. I'm now willing, and I'm now able to pay you that extra $40, right? Because some people, they just live paycheck to paycheck. They just can't pay it, or they don't think they can pay it. I believe there's probably always a way, but I mean, if you're going to offer free, then there should be at least some basic reasonable service. If it takes like a little bit of time, that's understandable. I think to me it's always better to have something take like 1 day to respond, but then to have good help than to be responding almost immediately, but then having the person on the other side not knowing what he's doing. That would also not be good. So that's just some of the things I really like about this platform.
Yeah, I think it's hitting the nail on the head. Like if you come in and you've got a free trial, it's like we've talked about, like having people that come in free, they're on the Facebook group, they can ask questions and they're answered just as we answer the pro and premium users, because we realize that they need to know that we're there to support them. And by being there and supporting them, they'll feel confident to actually buy into the platform. And the other thing is, more importantly, people spread the word. It's like, oh, well, because you can start a course, and new course creators, really, they're in a whole new world. And unless you handhold them and help them through it, and you get them, and as soon as they get successful, because these people, you know, you guys are amazing. You're doing all this amazing stuff, all so qualified to do all this stuff, overqualified to doing all this stuff online, and you're giving all this things out. So by us enabling you to get your course out there, to make your sales, you're going to tell people about the platform. You're also going to pay for it the next year because it's making you money. I'm not saying it's easy.
That makes sense.
You know,
like if you don't help your free people, they won't be paying people, and if you don't help them to the next step, they're eventually not going to pay you anymore because they just, like they don't make any money, right? Like I was like that for about a year. I paid and I didn't make any money, but it wasn't really because of anything that Zenler did. It was more like I just had to learn so many things, and I kind of didn't keep it in. Like I didn't keep it in the free version first. So I just let's just do the paid one, and I will get it up and running in a month. But my estimation of time was way off, and but now eventually I got some students, so now I'm not making a lot yet, but I'm making some.
Yeah.
But the thing you said earlier about the helping the free people, because in my martial arts school I had a similar situation. Sometimes I would have students, they were with me for 5 years, and then I remember in 2008 I think the economy tanked, and two teenagers, both parents lost their job, and so they really had to cut everything. But they were at the right age, and I said, well, if you do a little bit of helping in my class, I let you stay for free, because I thought that's the right thing to do, right? And they helping me a little bit, but then I also gave them the exact same service as, let's say, the person paying me $200 a month. That I wouldn't not look at them because, hey, you're not paying me, so I'm not going to help you. No, I just did them as everybody else, exactly the same way, and no difference. Because I think that's how it should be, right? Otherwise, I'm actually not giving you anything free. I just kind of let you hop around, right? That's not really my service.
Well, yeah, but also it's like, I know, senseis, they look at their students like their family. So it's kind of like you always have this, especially martial artists, there's certain rules that you follow. And I'm not surprised that you did that, Peter, to be honest.
My students used to call my school, like a lot of them, they would say, it's their second home. So when I sold my school, this was mostly due to some injuries I had, and I couldn't really stand up anymore. So I decided to go to Taiwan to kind of recuperate and get my health back. But when I sold the school, when literally teenagers were crying and saying, oh my God, my second home, and we love this place. It's like, yeah, but what good would I be if I'm in pain every day, And that wasn't good, So it's just, some minor, it was actually not like a major thing. It's like, I don't know if you heard of that condition called plantar fasciitis. It feels like you have gravel in your heel. So it actually feels like you have that. And then it feels like really stiff. And I had some ankle injury alongside with it. So every step I took, it just hurt it. And it just made me really not, I still liked teaching, but I would have all my beginner classes pretty much being taught by my assistant coaches, except when it was really busy. And then my advanced students, I would just have a chair out and I would just kind of sit there and then just give them orders, because they understood everything I said, and I would seldomly stand up, But, eventually that takes a toll, and then you see the numbers go down a little bit, and you go you know what? Maybe it's good to sell it now, since I still can sell it for something, because once it's too empty, I can't sell it for nothing. And then I just have to leave. And, all my work of this 15 years was done for nothing, I mean, not for nothing, but financially speaking, I lost even every dollar that I invested is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you do that, then you can't move on to invest in anything else. So it's kind of like you starting from scratch again.
Yeah, that was correct. And that was kind of like what happened anyway, but that's a different story.
Another story. Or maybe we'll have you on again.
Yeah, sure. I would love that.
But thank you so much, Peter.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to leave the live thing. And,
see you later.
Yeah. See you. Thank you.
Right. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. So I'll see you for the next build very soon. All right, guys. So nice one, that one to start with. So hopefully you like it. You've gained a little bit of insight into how we can kind of set it up. So maybe in the next one, if there's sites that don't need so much work or need more work, I can actually go in and actually do the build on the site with you rather than have one that's sort of already prepared. But there's quite a few bits I had to put together for this site. So depending on how much I've got to do or how little depends on how much actual work will go into the session without turning the session into a sort of 2 to 4 hour session. You know, we're going to try and end these. We're now on 1 hour 45 minutes, so I don't want to break any more than 2 hours. So depending on how much the site has to be done depends on how much live building I'll actually show you. But I hope you understood everything I was showing you on that in this live. It's our first live build. I hope you like it. Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you like it, guys, and you want us to carry on with this brand new feature from us at Zenler. So once again, I'd like to thank Peter, CaliforniaWushu.com. And yeah, hopefully he'll implement those changes and we'll see them very soon. I might go have an update of sites that I've taken through the live classes. We might have a look at them, see if people have implemented some of the changes we've spoken about in the live builds. All right, guys, have a good day, afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are, and I will speak to you soon.